Hello and welcome back to Sprite Guard Plays HyperRogue. We are well on our way to getting the achievement that we are going after. We have a couple of things ahead of us that should not be too difficult. The first is we want to find a vineyard for us to burn down. And so I'm thinking that the thing to do might be to poke into this hive and just use it as kind of a way of navigating a little bit more easily in the hopes that we can find a proper crossroads, or rather a crossroads type 1, because we're going to be doing some stuff that is going to involve a lot of traveling, and so being someplace where traveling is easier is something that I think is going to be very important. So we are going to look for a Crossroads Type 1 because that is much easier to navigate than Crossroads Type 2. Crossroads Type 3 I think might work, except that the last time I was in a Crossroads Type 3 there were no orb spawns. And so I'm not sure that that will work out for us, but we're just going to go until we see something, and then when we do see something, we will then see if it works for us. So now we're just kind of wandering. I'm not really sure what even to say. I'm kind of caught off guard by this somewhat longer stretch than I expected. So here we have another Crossroads Type 2 with a dead orb that we can grab. And there's actually, because there's a vineyard right here, I'm thinking, maybe we should just try... I mean, we have two things working against us, really. We have the fact that we can't navigate quite as easily and freely as we would like to, and we have the fact that orb spawns are somewhat diminished. And both of those are going to be working against us in terms of getting into the vineyard with the Orb of the Dragon, as is our desire. And so I'm thinking that probably the next time I see a land that's very easy to cross, I'm going to cross right into it. And it looks like the mirrored land is going to be that land. So let's see if we can find a crossroads not too far away from this crossroads. And we will just try and make our way there. So okay, so what's going on? So we are actually, Cocytus is one of the places that we want to go. So I'm going to kind of change course a little bit. We're only going to get 10 sapphires, but we want to get 25 eventually. But we really want to have kind of a certain setup for going into that. And so I am just going to get the first 10 in a way that I know that I can do it, because that is a lot easier. And things don't really start getting extremely dangerous until we have about 11 treasures. And then they just ramp up from there. So we have a demon shark coming from the south. And it looks like yet another Crossroads Type 2. So I am now kind of frustrated that we keep seeing so many of those. So we can melt this crystal sage, and that is not too difficult. And then we only need one more sapphire. We have another demon shark coming up, but it's going to have to melt its way toward us. Oh my goodness. What is going on? So much stuff suddenly coming after us. Here is... Okay, we would like to get into this crossroads. So we have to, first of all, melt that crystal sage. And then, second of all, kind of get around here. And we should be able to get out this way. There we go. Alright, managed to do it. That was a little bit harrowing in places, and I thought that maybe we were actually about to hit an untimely end, but we made it. So here we are. So we have Orb of Discord. I don't remember going to the zebra. I don't remember getting any onyx. I thought that's where you got the Orb of Discord. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe let's check the overview. Let's see. Orb of Discord. HyperRogues. Palace. And then Zebra, Onyx, Orb of the Frog. Oh, that's surprising. Because I remember Orb of the Frog being a palace thing. I remember seeing them in the palace, and I remember picking them up in the palace. So that's an interesting change, and it kind of makes sense, because the zebra is a place where the Orb of the Frog is very useful. That means that we may need to actually try and clear the orb, or clear the zebra, get the onyx. So that's very interesting. That is a recent change. I don't know how recent, but that really surprised me. So, okay, so now we are looking for an opportunity to get into a vineyard and start some fires. So I'm going to pick up some stuff that's just good for traveling. We also want to, let's see, we absolutely do not want to take Orb of Flash into Cicadas, so we're going to leave off on that. I want to get a lot of teleport charges, and let's see if we can maybe go into the graveyard and do our blasting strategy. So right about, I'd like to be able to kill that cultist at the same time, but we're not going to be able to do that, but that's fine. Easy enough to fight. And we have a couple of totems right here, easy to pick up, so we're going to start with those. So I have been having a pretty intense weekend. I have been, first of all, not sleeping very well, and the reason for that is a little bit funny, but the effects of it have not been funny. I have been kind of struggling to get things done and been in a pretty foul mood, and so I am kind of hoping that does not come across too badly in these videos. I'm hoping. I feel like I'm making at least decent videos this weekend, kind of despite the things that I have going against me, and I'm also packing to move. I'm moving next weekend, and so that has been pretty stressful. Why am I getting totems? We already have totems. I am completely confused. That was... Okay, so right there, it is actually starting to affect me. So that is good to know. We need to be more careful, more kind of conscious about what we're doing. We still need sapphires, and having this Orb of Teleport, we may actually want to go after them now while we still have it. Though we're starting to kind of run low enough that I'm wondering if maybe it's not worth doing. Especially with that demon shark. I may just want to hang on to it as something that we have kind of protecting us as we go on our search for a vineyard. And then once we are at the vineyard, of course, we want to find an Orb of the Dragon, which could be quite difficult. Let's see. Crystal Sage. I guess we can't melt it. I guess we don't have a great deal of heat coming out of us when we're not in the Cicadas, or we don't heat up lands from across the wall, which makes sense. Oh, another thing that we actually need that I was reminded of when I saw that Orb of Winter is we need to get the Orb of the Fish available to us. So I think since we've run out of teleport, Orb of Discord will be a handy thing to have in case we get into a little bit of trouble. Actually should break that so we know where we've been. And then we're just going to head on our way, pick up orbs that will be useful to us, and just keep going. So the reason that I have not been getting very much sleep recently is a little bit funny. I got this, so I got interested recently in pen spinning, and kind of throwing pens around and twirling them around, and then Fat Monk, a streamer who I have talked about on this channel before, gave me some tips and showed me some stuff to try with pen spinning, and I was trying it out on a pen, and it was really difficult, but hobbies are that way a lot of the time. And so I was kind of, okay, this is a new dexterity hobby. It's really rough getting started. I know that, I expect that, it's something that I am used to. And I was just, really working my way through it, and I was getting some stuff down, but I just couldn't get it smooth. And during this time, I had ordered these Jigao spinning pens, like special-made spinning pens, that from this Chinese company, Jigao, that makes special pens. And this is... I had seen a video of some guys using this particular brand of pen and doing really fancy stuff, and so I wanted to get one of those and try it out and see, what they were like. But in the meantime, I had, the pen that I just use for writing at work. And then I picked up this, at the drugstore, I just picked up this solid steel pen, because the first pen that I used was so light that it was kind of like, I found it felt like it was working against me, because it was so light that if I made the tiniest error, it would just go flying across the room. And so I picked up this solid steel pen that was a little bit easier to work with, but still, really struggling to get things smooth and make things work. And my spinning pens arrived just a couple days ago, and I picked it up, and it was like, I'm not even sure, it was like my hands were born to have these things in them. And I had been waiting 30 years to have this thing in my hand. Like, that's how good it felt. And so I started spinning it, and tricks that I was, like, really struggling to get smooth with the steel pen, and couldn't do it all with the plastic pen, were like, I didn't even have to try. My hands just automatically did them on these spinning pens. And, I still have a lot of things to work on. I'm by no means an expert. I'm very far from that. I still have a lot of smoothness to get down, still a lot of tricks to learn. Still, far enough away that I don't really yet feel sad that I don't have a camcorder or a webcam of some kind. And I guess that's kind of showing my age that I called it a camcorder, but I don't have any way of recording myself doing this, but I'm not at a point where that is a tragedy. So we are, as is often the case, just not seeing Orbs of the Dragon, and I do want to check the overview. Let's see. Temple of Cthulhu, Grimoire, Orb of the Dragon. Yes, so that is still the same. Let's see, Orb of Life. I don't remember getting gold, but I guess that is something that we did. So I pick up this pen, and it's like my hands just start doing stuff, and I'm kind of fascinated by it and entranced by it, and I ended up staying up like incredibly late, and then having a hard time, because when you work on kind of those flow generating activities, it can be very difficult to fall asleep. And so I haven't been able to put these things down, and it's kind of been messing up my life in an amusing but also kind of frustrating way. So that is the story of why I have not been getting as much sleep as I should be. And now I'm starting to think, we've been going for quite a while, and I have been trying to keep these videos on the shorter side, and so I am now going to probably take the next Orb of Safety that we see. So that is, I'm going to just wrap it up, well, I thought I was following along a vineyard, but somehow I ended up following along the beach instead, but never mind. We don't have to follow along anything right now. I'm just going to be looking for an Orb of Safety. We may want to also pick up more statues of Cthulhu, because it would actually be useful to have Orb of Teleport spawning in the minefield. I'm going to pick up this Orb of Teleport, so that we have lots and lots of teleport as we continue on into the next part of the game. So, still have a lot of wine to pick up, still have probably the better part of a vineyard to burn down. We still want to get 14 more sapphires from the cicadas. And then we have, of course, the whole business of clearing out the minefield ahead of us. So all that is coming up. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.